7:24. This is Extra Time, proudly brought to you by Hollywood Bet. But Mike, let's look at Royal AM. How do you prepare your team, knowing very well that there's this dark cloud over you?
It's very tough. So they've lost their appeal at CAS. There is one more level that they can go to, and that's the High Court in Switzerland, I think.
Yeah.
But they're not likely to be successful. You know, the minute FIFA makes a judgment based on something, it's very difficult to overturn that judgment. I've seen very, very few judgments that have been handed down by FIFA overturned by CAS.
Yeah.
So they've spent a lot of money on legal fees. There's no doubt about it. I think the amount of money that we're talking about in terms of the claim is 12 odd million rand. The point is, and FIFA have now said, you can't indefinitely decide you're not paying it. And they can impose further sanctions. And those sanctions can be anything from points to relegation to so many different things. And I feel sorry for the players. I have to be honest with you. I feel really sorry for them because they've worked hard. You know, you saw their game against Mamelodi Sundowns. They were beaten 2-1, but they were not disgraced. They made life difficult for Sundowns. I think if you looked at the chances that both teams had, it were pretty equal. 4 or 5 shots on target, each team during the game. And at the end, they almost squeezed home an unlikely equalizer. So you can't fault the club or the team for putting up a good show and really doing the best they can under difficult circumstances. But it can't last forever. And they're going to have to find a solution here. They are going to have to find a solution. Even if it means, and I'll say this with my tongue in cheek, selling the franchise and finding somebody who's prepared, you know, to put money into the football club.
What could be the worst case scenario?
The worst case scenario is that FIFA takes drastic action and takes points off or forces the league to take points away from them, or forces the league to relegate them.
In which season? Talking points from last season or this current season?
No.
Okay.
No.
They haven't done much.
No, I know that. But
even collected much points.
But the point is that you could say that there is a minus 10 points, for example, which means that if you've got 4 points, you start with minus 6 after 4 games. I'm just speculating.
Yeah.
But I've seen these things happen in world football. And sadly, you don't want the same situation to happen to any football club, but a club in the Premier Soccer League of South Africa. Not good for the image of the league at all.
But why they still persist about this issue and saying, and fighting till the end?
Again, I talk totally off the record, and definitely not the opinion of the radio station. It's my personal opinion. Sometimes you don't get the right advice. That's just my opinion. You know, I'm not saying this is the case, but sometimes you don't get the right advice, and when you're relying on so-called experts to give you that advice, it can be misleading.
As a coach, how do you then prepare, Mike? And who to blame when the team is not doing well? Mind you, it's been 2 seasons without signing any player.
Yeah, you can't blame anybody in the technical staff. They're doing the best they can. And quite honestly, the team has done remarkably well given all the pressure and you know, the difficult circumstances that they find themselves under. They've done incredibly well. I just hope that they can find a solution and that the team can continue, because we've said this all along. It's exciting for KZN to have 4 teams in the Premier Soccer League. When last did we have 4 teams in the Premier Soccer League? And by the way, if Durban City win promotion and the 4 remain in the league, I think it will be an unprecedented 5 teams from KZN. Maybe somebody has those stats, but I can't remember KZN having 5 teams in the top flight.
I know it's him preparing for this game against Skokone, and we spoke about bad advice, if I may say. But what would you say to the chairman, the chair lady?
Oh, you know, I know her heart is in the right place. And
how does she get out of this?
Super passionate about this football club.
Yeah.
I don't know, to be honest. Maybe find a partner. And again, I'm talking from the outside. It's easy to talk from the outside when you're not in the kitchen.
Yeah.
It gets hot in the kitchen. So you stand outside the kitchen and you talk, and it's easy for people to do that. Me as well. So it's incredibly easy to be a critical person on issues like this without feeling the pressure yourself. But try and find a solution. Try and find an investor. Try and find somebody that you can partner with that wants to keep the club afloat and do the best you possibly can under the circumstances, because it's very difficult. We saw what happened to Swallows. When you leave it to a point where unfortunately the only solution is to sell your franchise, then you end up losing a wonderful brand like Morocco Swallows. They'll probably bounce back sometime in the future, but you lose a brand like Morocco Swallows. And unfortunately, the league and football in South Africa has lost too many top-class brands. Morocco Swallows is one, Bloemfontein Celtic is another, Wits University is another. So there's 3 brands that have disappeared from the top flight. And I don't think South African football can afford too many more of these situations.